Well, well, my Scorpio friends and family. Sending you love, light, and Reiki. This is your Oracle Medicine, here to pass along the word of the divine in the month of March 2017. As you can see, I'm currently laying down a 12 card spread now for this month. And I will do my best to interpret the messages that I get from this as best as I can. Please understand some things that if we get any court cards and I start talking about people, then this message is for Sun, Moon, or Rising. And that includes court cards. If court cards show up and they show up in a certain element, that also includes Sun, Moon, or Rising too. So let's get started here. We have the Five of Swords showing up and reversed for the first week. We have the Nine of Cups showing up for the first week. And we have the Knight of Wands showing up for the first week. So, what I'm seeing here is that there was a debate, there was a battle, there was an argument, there was an altercation that happened that perhaps didn't really get settled. Perhaps someone tried to steal your thunder and they didn't really succeed at that too well. But not because your thunder didn't get stolen. It's just that it didn't really benefit them either. So the conflict and the argument is kind of still going. And to be honest, it's getting nowhere and it's leading nowhere. But the great part is that you have such an affinity. You are so there with your intuition right now. You're so there with your intuition right now, with your relationships, with your self, that you have the power to manifest any kind of wish or dream that you wish to bring about for yourself. The universe is saying yes with the Nine of Cups, that you have the ability to do this for yourself. You have the ability to also share these dreams and wishes, but know that this power first must come from within the self. Like, you are holding this power right now. Your relationships are looking pretty good. Overall, I have to say, your relationships seem to be looking pretty good. You know, they seem to be, you seem to be holding such a power right now. A power that, you know, that you also are holding with you, enough love to share. It's a great time for traveling for you for the first week. If you are traveling by bus, by train, by car, by motorcycle, road trip. I'm not going to tell you who I also had this going on in the first week for. So you might be actually beginning with them, and you guys all might be going on the same road trip together. I don't even know. But I had this card in the first week at the same time frame as another sign. So I'm not going to tell you who that is. You guys might just be connecting with that time together. The Knight of Wands can also represent, of course, a fire sign, especially a Sagittarius. Probably masculine energy. The sign can be Sun, Moon, or Rising. If it is a person, this person is probably very charismatic. This person is probably very boyishly charming. This person is probably very adventurous, very outgoing. They have a lot of knowingness about them because Sagittarius is all about higher knowledge. And so they like to learn things. They like to go out and learn. They like to go out into the world and learn. So they're very spicy, very hot. Very fast-paced, very fast-moving. And they can be very passionate. And it's a forceful passion. And this could also be who you might be having, you know, relations with the Nine of Cups. Maybe this is kind of like the person that you have all to yourselves right now. But I will say that this is going to be a time for you to share in some emotional good times, some personal connection. I get the Two of Swords that pops up in the middle of the second week. The Nine of Wands. So here's the Two of Swords there. And here's the Nine of Wands here. And here is the Hierophant card upright. I swear, you guys are going to be going on the same journey. You and this other person, you're going to have a friend that's going to be a tag-along buddy. You guys are going to be going on the same journey, either together, but you guys are going on the same journey because some of the same things are happening here, just as different times. We get the Two of Swords, which is talking about disharmony happening, and a disharmony happening once again. You know, an argument, an altercation that has yet to be completed. It's still going. So even now we're in the second week, and yet it's still going in. And we can't even find a truce with it right now. You can't even get to a truce with it right now. The Nine of Wands is coming up and expressing that you've worked so hard for something, and yet you're going to, it's going to slip out right underneath you if you're not very careful. You know, you're right at the tail end of things manifesting in the way that you like to manifest, and if you're not careful, it's going to slip out right underneath you. So be very careful of that. We get the Hierophant card coming up, which is talking about some advice that's going to be given to you, perhaps in the spiritual sense, how to use spiritual applications on earth, to do earthly things, to wash your dishes. How do I do that with spiritual applications? Things like whatever your spiritual religious background is. I don't know what that is for you, but and a good example would be like how to enjoy washing your dishes, understanding that spirit is within all things. The Hierophant can be coming at that time. I just got wind of perhaps a wedding that's supposed to be happening for some of you Scorpios. Perhaps there's supposed to be some sort of wedding happening. Maybe maybe this guy is kind of coming to you and talking to you at a time when there's supposed to be something happening there. You're going to be starting a family pretty soon, aren't you? I'm getting this right now. And or it could also be about renewing vows, renewing vows. I'm seeing that, like your relationships, it's tying into your relationships somehow with the Hierophant and the Nine of Cups. I'd almost say that, sometimes us water signs, we're not the most rationale per se or logical of people per se, because we don't flow off of that. We flow off of intuition, right? And our emotions and how we feel about things. There are certainly different mixtures of that. I've seen Scorpios who they come off to be very logical people-ish. They do. They come off to be very logical people, but it's just not what they naturally flow in. It's not your natural vortex, if you will. And so this miscommunication could be to the fact of maybe you just don't know really how to communicate something through words. Maybe your version of communication really is through the emotion. Just a thought. I get the Page of Wands happening in the third week. I get the Knight of Cups in reverse happening in the third week. And I get the Nine of Pentacles happening for you in the third week. So with the Page of Wands expresses a time when one should think about traveling out, when one should think about, it's a good time to kind of travel out. It's a good time for making travel plans. kind of is the message there. It's a great time for making travel plans, which is funny because here there was a time for when you did travel out, so that you maybe just go for a short run and kind of come back. Now you're kind of motivated. You're making travel plans. Are you making travel plans with the person in which you're in your relation with? For some of you who might be, you know, getting engaged or getting married. Is this honeymoon time for you, that you're making plans about honeymoon time for some of you? The when and where of things and how things are going to happen. The Knight of Cups is showing up in reverse, and so it's saying that it's not necessarily a good time to go to a beach in the third week. Not necessarily a good time to go to a lake or a beach. Not necessarily a good time to travel by boat or ride a boat anywhere, travel by water anywhere. It's just not a good time for that right now. This can also be depicting someone who is very emotional. And they're probably a little bit on the depressed side, very sad. You know, they're very sensitive, and they're probably a little bit on the depressed side. They're probably having a hard time. The Page of Wands could also be depicting a childlike person, or a female, a young female or childlike person, fire sign, again, sun, moon, or rising, who's very adventurous and is very passionate and very charismatic, and they like being outside. They love the outdoors. So this could be also depicting a time when one is experimenting as well with their new energy that they have. They have this new energy coming in, and one is experimenting with that right now. As in, you're learning how to focus it. You're learning how it works. You're learning, you know, what happens when you douse the fire. You're learning how it works. It's kind of new for you. You're learning how to use it. You're learning how to use it. Your emotional state might not be in the best place in the third week of March, with the Knight of Cups being in reverse. And I almost want to say that it probably has something to do with the fact that you weren't able to take some time for you with the Nine of Pentacles. You weren't able to take some time for yourself. Perhaps you were trying to make plans to take some time for yourself, and that didn't happen, and it's causing this emotional turmoil to go on. Maybe your job was just like, nope, we need you here, and you were like, but I need to go have some me time. So that's kind of going on here in the third week there for you. Then we get the Temperance card in upright. We get the Three of Swords in reverse, and we get the Moon card in reverse. I would be wary, I would be cautious as we get towards the fourth week. And the reason why is because someone is keeping a secret from you. Or something is not being said. There's something that's not being said that needs to be said. And actually, it's not doing anything for you because they're not telling you the truth. So there's stagnant energy going on right now because they're not being honest and truthful with you. And the thing is that if they were honest and truthful with you at this time, you probably would end your relations with them. You probably would move on from them. Your relationship status with them would change. I think you can sense that going on though, because the Knight of Cups explains insecurity, and the Three of Swords also says, I know something is going on, and I don't know how I know, but I know. And I'm tired of wondering about it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it to just come to the surface. It more than likely will hurt, whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever it is that you're insecure about at this time. Know that it's probably very accurate, but it's not being said. So do you decide to just kind of keep going because it's not being said, or do you force a situation and force it to come out so that you can move on in the way that you need to? I don't know, but these are always tricky situations. It's easy to say, hard to do when we're actually in this situation, right? Your intuition, you're kind of out of bounds with your intuition towards the end of the week. Of the 4th week of March, you're kind of out of bounds towards your intuition. It could have to do with the insecurities that's going on. Maybe you find yourself kind of afraid to kind of be in your feeling mode right now because there's a lot of hurtful things buried in there right now that perhaps you're kind of resisting, perhaps you're having a hard time dealing with. The Temperance card shows up for you, which says that opposing energies are working together in symbionts, in a symbiotic relationship. Maybe it's not necessarily a relationship, but it can just be opposing energies from within yourself are starting to form together to create wholeness and oneness and completeness. But because this 3 of Swords is not because things are not being said on a verbal level, you're not receiving a message, you're not receiving anything. The Moon card is, it's kind of like you're blocked. You're being blocked from getting to that point. You're being blocked from it right now. So that's what I see happening. And again, it's just because it's all over this argument. Whatever argument is going on in the beginning of the month, it's all about that right now. It's all about that. That's all connecting some way, somehow to what's going on for you. So the card that you get is Protection. This is kind of a good one for you Scorpios because you guys are very guarded. You're very emotionally guarded in the first place, right? It says, you, your loved ones, and your possessions are safe and protected by heaven. Oh, so here we are. That's an affirmation going on there. Know that you and your loved ones and your possessions are safe and protected by heaven. Your prayers, which ask for safety and protection, have been heard and answered. Any attacks or threats are now a thing of the past. Washed away with the tide of heavenly love. This love is clearing away your insecurities so that you can feel totally secure. When you ask heaven to watch over you, your loved ones, your home, and your possessions, your prayers are instantly answered. There's no hesitation or delay on heaven's part. It's done as soon as you ask. Your energies can now be directed in meaningful and creative ways with your mind clear of worries. Enjoy your day. That's the message from the divine. So here you made a wish, and perhaps our thoughts are kind of getting in the way of what's truly going on here, and therefore it's clouding our feelings, which can happen. It can definitely happen. So know that as soon as you pray, as soon as you wish for something, it's already in motion. If you believe that here in the beginning of the week, everything else will play out as it shall, in a good way, for your most benevolent outcome. These things, these reconfigurations of life, they usually do play out for the most benevolent outcome. It's just when we learn to ride with and go and flow with our universal energy, we become one with that, and therefore, things start to become more in alignment with us. Synchronicity happens better. When we create resistance, it keeps the flow from going. So that's the message from Spirit. I want to share that I am doing readings for people, free readings for people, and I would love if you were able to get a free reading from me. I'm doing dailies, love, romance, career, doing them for a little while here up until about July. I'll do weekly, yearly, whatever the case might be. Come get a free reading sometime. I'd love to do a free personal reading for you and just see what we figure out for you personally. But for now, I hope you enjoy these readings and I hope that they help you. And yeah, sending you love, light, and Reiki. This is your Oracle Medicine signing out until next time. Enjoy the month. Ahomataku Asen.